So this is Haukke Manor, which is the first dungeon that I will be doing as my job, not class, which the job in this case is Scholar, which is a healing class. Unlike previous videos for the Arcanist, I will be actually healing, well, technically. I will be more using a macro to simulate healing, in that it's actually my pet that is doing the healing. If I use the right button, it helps though. For the most part, the tank is the one that will be tanking everything, which is this job. So it will be fairly easy to keep the party alive using just the AOS's heals. And the party seems to be doing quite well damage-wise, so it makes it even easier for both me and the AOS. Now, whilst the AOS is the one doing the healing, I will be adding dots to help the DPS do more damage, and hopefully that will lead to a task of clear. Should my pet decide to heal, that is. Sometimes he can be a little bit of a pain. But things like that. For the maid serpents, which is one of the more annoying enemies, they can terror you, but other than that, there's nothing really to worry about with them. As the terror itself is not, well, it shouldn't be an effect to you. Because you can never be in range of it. But if there is a case where you are, the basicness of it is move out of the way. As you will be unable to move after being hit by terror. And they die quick enough that you probably won't get too many of your buffs on. So, alright, your dot's on. The most important thing to remember if using a macro like myself is the macro itself actually stops the AOS from moving. Which means you have to remember to use heal, which is the move that gets it to come with you. Although it is a bit of a problem when your tank moves out of the way of your AOS. As it obviously isn't going to move, so the macro won't work. The other major thing to remember is your cleric stance. If you have, well, obviously you've leveled up the class, conjurer. To unlock scholar, which means that instead of worrying about, it means you do more damage with your skills, basically. And it's very handy when you use this macro, so you're not the one that actually has to worry about healing. As it makes life a lot easier for you and your party because you're doing more damage. The good thing with bosses like the Manor, which the only thing you have to worry about is its AoEs. It does have a few more things, but you'll never encounter them unless your tank's really bad. You barely have to control your AOS at all during the fight. Nice. Some parties do it this way, which is a lot faster. You don't have to deal with the couple of mobs on the walls there, on the stairs, the walls. Which is handy because it makes the clear quite a bit faster. It's a nice way thing to know, especially if you're a tank who will be leading the party. Obviously, as the healer, you will not be the one jumping down like that. The most important thing is if you're using said macro, which I will put if necessary. It's a fairly simple one. And another tip that I don't use being like that. Being actually requires you to have had bio 2, and miasma on it, or at least one of them. What is not nice is I think my tank has decided to go start a fight without me. Actually, as a tip I would give, don't start a fight without your healer. That would probably be more in the tank section of things, but It's always important to know. Luckily, it just knows what it's doing, so it's not a big problem. At least he seems to know what he's doing. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but... As you can see, even though I am a technical healer, I have not had to cast heal more than once, I don't think. Which is very nice, and leads to a much easier run for the party. Because I can focus on DPSing over doing the healing, because I have my pet do the healing for me. Not every party will be as easy to do that with, because there will be minor struggles, such as the tank being under geared, the DPS being too low that they don't die fast enough, etc. But for the most part, you should be able to just focus on doing the DPS like so. And for this boss, there is two bosses. There is the Jester, which does like magic damage and stuff, and then there is the Steward, which can stun you, and is the tankier of the two. So it is completely up to you party to decide which one to kill first. As it doesn't really make too much of a difference, but usually they'll kill the Jester first because he's the weaker one and will die faster. Although some people will target the Steward first because he does more AoEs and can be a bit more of a pain. And the easiest way to get back to the next boss is to actually just return, because it returns you a start, which is basically where you have to go. Important thing to know about the Manor Sentry is, unlike most fights, he is not actually a proper fight. You will not kill him. no matter how hard you try. You will get him down to 50%, and he will run, and that will open the door to the final boss, which is Lady Amandine. There's a lovely Ellison, as you can see. And clearly not evil at all. After Lady Amandine, it's the same old. Same old for the most part. Use your pet to heal. Continue doing damage yourself. And up until she summons her lamps like this, you can just focus on healing or doing damage, but once that happens, you want to turn off them, or you will be getting extra damage every couple of seconds from the basically dot from the lamps. And she'll summon it twice, as you can see. A fairly easy thing to deal with, however. I should have summoned mobs, but I believe one of them makes food. I have to make it invincible or harder to kill, or what the case is, but... Either way, this is a part where you might actually decide you would rather heal. Because multiple people may be taking damage. But you should be able to focus on DPSing unless something unfortunate happens, like the death of a party member, or the party getting elated from the lamps, which shouldn't happen, which thankfully it didn't.